I'm sorry, I usually have earbuds, but they seem to have been misplaced. So there might be a lot of loud talking in the background. I'll make sure I'll mute myself when I'm not talking.
Just Saturday or?
I forgot, was Jennifer gonna join us today? Oh, I was asking if Jennifer will be joining us today. Okay, so I usually wait until 6:05, Monique, and then that's when we'll get ready. Until then, you guys can just do your normal stretching. I was telling Monique that I misplaced my earbuds, so I'll try to make sure I'm muted whenever I'm not talking, because there's a lot of loudness in the background right now. All right, so today we are going over mount stuff. So we went over, first day we went over basic mount escapes. Last week we went over, I forgot what we went over last week. It was a mount into the Lucas Lake sweep, or setting up into Lucas Lake sweep, which I don't think we actually did the sweep last week. So this week we're gonna do the sweep. So we're gonna just warm up with the basic mount, escape mount, dismount. That is the one where we're lying on our back. The strong hip pump. We're bringing our knees in and shooting ourselves out into a seated position. Okay, so I'll do that with my dummy so you guys can see. mounted and hip mounted. Tap my hips strong, move these little, and then I shoot myself. So, all right. So for this one shot, it works when the person doesn't have their hands on the ground yet. So the person has to hip bump them forward, and then their hands are going to lightly touch. So if the person's hands are already planted on the ground, it'll be very difficult to execute this sweep. So yeah, just like that, and then catch the timing as they're coming down. It's a lot easier. So Monique, I like the way you're drilling. Just practice also retracting your knees all the way to the chest. So even though your dummy doesn't have legs, you still want to slide them down to settle on your Achilles, right? That's where their hips will be centered. That's where their hips will be settled. And we want to practice hip lifting and then retracting our knees to our chest so they land right on our shins. So you're gonna hold your dummy in the air and retract. Yeah, now retract your shins. Yes, now push back. Yes, that's how you want them to be. All right, so we're gonna continue with this, but now we're adding in the element of pushing ourselves or shooting our legs into the half guard position, right? So. We have our dummy mounted on top of us. Okay, everything's the same. Out. Okay, now maintaining my underhook and nice pressure with my shoulder. I'm going to take this bottom leg and I'm going to shoot them through and catch the half guard from here. My hand here is either going to be low, pulling down, or high on the shoulder. I'll repeat that closer so you guys can hear me better. Once I shoot my legs into the half guard, I'm gonna grab the hip and make sure I'm either grabbing low and pulling tight or grabbing high at the shoulder. I'm never going to settle in the middle. Okay. All right. Question? Now for you, Melissa, when you're shooting your legs down into the half guard, you're gonna focus, since you don't have legs, your focus is gonna be your underhook. So when you underhook, I want you to focus on getting your shoulder deep and all the way through that underhook, and your head, you want it to be as low as possible, all the way at the dummy's navel. So you're gonna be completely on your side and then all the way at the dummy's navel. Yeah, so you want to get your head as low and close to the hips, or where the hips would be, as much as you can. And for you, it might make more sense to grab at the hip, which is fine. So now you're going to be super low. Yeah. Bring your elbow tight. So close your elbow close to the dummy. Yeah. Very nice, Sarah. Just start to slowly add in the push-pull element. That the motion of the wave, right? You're feeling them push, you're receiving it, and you're moving with the motion, so everything is one motion. You're doing good though. All right, let's add in the sweep. So Monique, I'm gonna have you do the back take because it all works the same, except for the sweep happens when the person's like pushing you back to your back where you can't you can no longer take the back, if that makes sense. Since you don't have legs or any, like, you have like little tiny legs a little bit, so it's not going to be, yeah, you got some legs, but it's probably better for us to just do the back take for you. So the back take happens when the person's just falling, their belly's flopping all the way to the mat, right? They're not smashing you down so that you can't get to their back. Everything else is the same. So here, hip bump, stop, through, right? Pushing, shooting through. We have the back. Now, pay attention to my legs. When I'm taking the back, my foot is pulling out like this. Okay, I'm not crossing. I'm using this to pull out. This works for the Lucas leg sweep, and it also works for the back take. I can even stop if I want to for the back take. They're falling. So repeating everything I said closer to the camera so you guys can hear me. When I'm playing half guard, I have to be very strategic on how I have my feet. Now the leverage comes from getting the foot outside the hip. If my foot is in line with my hip, I have a good base. As soon as my foot is pulled outside my hip, my base becomes more compromised because I'll be falling like this. And that's the goal here, to just pull that foot out as far out from the hips as you can. If you figure, you can do the same thing with the figure four, but the problem is when you're switching between different moves, you're caught up between your own legs and theirs. So that transition between when you want to take the back and when you want to sweep is slow. So focus more on just finding control with your legs open, if that makes sense. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, for you, Monique, what I was saying is you can just do that. You can also stomp. You don't have to always stomp, but it's an option for you, right? It's not a required part of the step, but if you feel somebody's super slick, you could do that. Yes, so Sarah, your two options, since you're working with child, you have both. If the whizzer is down on you, you can no longer take the back. So she's gonna, usually when she's whizzering down, she's trying to put pressure back into you so you can't move to your back. That's a great time for you to set up the Lucas slate sweep. Now, if the door is open, as in she didn't whizzer, take her back all day. So you did this before last week, so you guys just throw whichever one at each other, make them think. Okay, so some extra meanness that I want to give to you, Monique. When you get the person going down, we want to put as much pressure to keep them down or at least stay behind them as we can. All right. So as you're coming out the back, let's do this. All right. As I'm coming out the back here, I want to take my hand. Right. So I'm here. I'm coming out the back. I'm going to really push down, hug my hips as possible, and I want to take my shoulder and drive it down into the ground as hard as I can. And I'm running my feet in. Okay. So I take off my socks. Taking off my socks here, so I can really get some good drive. I love getting started. Behind here, my shoulder is gonna go right, either underneath the butt cheek or right up the head. And I'm driving myself through, and I want to be heavy. So I'm trying to make myself as heavy as possible and smash them. This works well if the person is flat, and it's a wrestling move if the person is still here. Okay, based up. If they're still based up, you're gonna take your hand, grab the foot, and drive. If they're not based up, you can just start to climb. Climb high, high, high. Yeah, I'm getting nasty. I really drive nice and mean into the hip and into the low back and slide your chest up, just like as you're passing guard. Don't disconnect there. And not bringing your head to your knees. You still want to keep nice posture here. Like a rocket ship. Try not to dip your head down, Sarah. So you're just gonna come. From here. Boom. Toe up, take my back. You gotta run. I'm gonna get the foot to my hip and drive. I'm pulling this hip. Drive my hip as hard as I can into there. Oh, yeah, wait, so you did it? We should go? Not yet, but like close, yeah. Close. Oh, like the different. So in that position, Sarah, you already have the hook in. So just, yeah, you just put your other hook in. But say if for some reason you didn't have your hooks in, like you take your other hook out, your hook out there, and you're just kind of behind. This is the point where you would run. You would be running behind. Use, I think it's your right hand to grab her ankle, the one that's not grabbing her hip. Yeah, exactly. You can run to the side and just drive her hips forward. So you want to get your shoulder underneath her hip and drive it forward.
Like that idea.
I just said yes, 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 that's it. And you can even kind of step in between her legs sometimes. So you're in the middle. Tilt that onto your hip and drive like that too. Neither is wrong. You'll find like in the scramble what the best position is, but I tend to like to be able to shelf that leg on my hip too when I have the chance. Hold on to the, I know you're kind of hurt, Cha, but you want to hold on to the hip, keep your elbow tight, that's on the hip, and use that shoulder pressure to drive her hips all the way to the ground, completely flatten her out. Get that shoulder underneath the butt cheeky cheeks. Like right at the, right there. Right underneath that thing. Big difference. I know she had no space though. And you would just keep driving with your feet, even when their hips are down. You just kind of just like, you know, wrestling is just like grind, grind, grind. You would just drive in until you're ready to move into your next position. But that was good. All right, time. So Monique, this is a setup off the Lucas lace sweep that you can do, or you should be able to do with your dummy. If not, you can just continue to do the back take if it feels awkward. So so we have we've already done two setups when we're attacking the back from half guard. The first one is just to straight up take the back. If they don't put down a whizzer, if they don't put down any defenses, we're taking the back. Now, if they do put down the whizzer and really pressure back into it hard, that's when we're going into the Lucas Lake sweep. Now, say that they put down the whizzer, they're pressuring in, but they remember you hit that Lucas Lake sweep. So instead of like continuing to pressure in, they're backing out. They're backing out of that whizzer. This is when you're gonna shoot yourself into a deep half. So we're here. Into the half guard. Just imagine he's withering down. Boom, but now he's backing out. So when they back out, I'm gonna take this hand, dig it underneath for the leg to prevent the leg from getting back any further. Right, so I'm digging underneath the leg and I'm using my feet here and my hips to pull myself to the back and pull my head closer to the hip. So it looks like this. Once I pull myself onto this hip, my hand is going to transition from this side to this side so that my head is deeper on the hip into the half guard position. Okay, my legs are working as little butterfly hooks to keep the knee and the foot off the ground. Usually I would just be like this, but you can also come over and keep the leg straight until you're ready to transition, right? If I'm going to transition for the back, it's going to be the foot on the behind me that's going to, usually the leg will be straighter. So I'm going to just support it with my hand. Usually your hand is going to be all the way up here, but for the purposes of the dummy, I'm going to support it with my hand so the leg's straight. So I'm here and I'm going to be sending the leg in front of me so that I can answer the phone with my bottom hand and then come out the back. And guess what? We're in that same position where you're here and driving the leg deep. Also, sometimes when you're with your training partner, depending on how they react, if they fall forward, you guys have the one we just did. If they're trying to get their base back, that's when you're going to work to get your hooks because they're falling into your hips, right? So if they're either falling forward, you're going to drive their hips forward. If they're here and they're trying to get their base back, that's when you're going to take their back into the seat belt or straight jacket position, the regular back position. All right. So Sarah and Cha, did you guys understand what I was doing? Are you able to replicate that for Monique so she can see? Or do you need me to do it again? So here, boom. Yes, Sarah's shooting herself into the half guard. Yeah, she whizzes down. Now instead of Cha pressuring in, she's kind of backing out. So this is when Cha's going to use her legs to pull Cha's legs closer to her, and her bottom hand is going to transition underneath, right? Exactly. And then grab that hip and then pull it down tight to your shoulder. Yes. Yep. So let's do the back take position. So you're going to switch your hooks, Sarah. Switch your hooks. Boom, boom. Now you can bring that top hook on the floor. You just plant it on the floor. Yep. And then send her foot towards the camera and then begin to take her back. right? So you can put your foot on the ground now. As long as you want your foot hitting the ground before her knee or foot hits the ground. So your knee or foot hits the ground before hers. That way that she can't go run before you're ready to go. But that was pretty good. Now you can do one cha is as she's trying to take your back, you're trying to push yourself back in. And then in that case, Sarah, you're just going to continue to guide her leg forward and get her to sit to her butt. And then you just get your hooks in. Yeah. Keep her foot elevated, keep her foot elevated, pull her hips into you. Grab your other hand, grab her hip. Not bad. Next time you just want to make sure her foot doesn't hit the ground before yours. And one way you're going to do that is allow your foot to slide all the way to her ankle. So it's going to be up here, and then you just let it slide, and your foot's going to go straight and then out like that. So you're going to guide her straight and then out. And I know you're like a little bit shorter than Cha too, so it might be a little difficult, but I'm essentially doing this. Forward and then out. Forward and then out. And then they're going to sit here. Monique, just continue to do the one you're doing. That back takes a little awkward with your dummy. Answer the phone. Sorry. I got on the thing too fast. Grab her other hip. There you go. So as you're coming out the back, Sarah, answer the phone and then immediately start to feed for that hip. All right. So you're like here, hip, right away. So here, I'm coming out the back, right? I'm sending this to the back, hip. Right? Boom, answer the phone, hip. Good job, Sarah. Now this time, as you're going into that half guard, don't let her foot touch the ground at all, because that's her escape. So her escape from deep half is when her knee or her foot touches the ground. So for her, think of like that's hot lava. That's hot lava. Don't let her foot touch the ground or her knee. You got a whizzer, Cha. Whizzer and then back away for the deep half. Yep. Remember, if she's leaning forward, if it makes more sense for you to come to your feet, Sarah, come to your feet. There's no right or wrong answer here. It just is dependent. What you do is dependent on the situation. I'll give you guys, I see like the fatigue coming on, so I'll give you guys a few more minutes to rep it out, and then we'll call it early for today. All right, time, let's look in. So when we're drilling and we hit that point of failure, that's kind of the goal, is to drill to failure. And then we just gotta take a rest and then get back to it another day. But you guys did really well. Does anybody have any questions for me? I have this thing.
Sorry, could you, what's the name of the sweep called again? Oh, what's the name of the sweep? Oh, it's, sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. So the one, actually, sorry, Sarah and Sean, I will name them as they do them. So can you guys do the first sweeps? So that you know which each one is. So this from the mount, it's not really a sweep, it's just a hip bump. Hip bump mount escape. Okay, the first one is just the back take if she doesn't put the whizzer in. All right, just a regular back take. All right, different ways to do that. Then say she puts the whizzer in. So you can just start from half guard, Sarah. So she puts the whizzer in and then she's driving in close, right? So she's trying to keep Sarah's back on flat on the mat. Sarah's gonna use that momentum to do the Lucas Lake sweep. Boom. Yep. So that's called the Lucas Lake. I don't know how to spell it. I'm probably not even saying the last name right. You know, it's Portuguese. Lucas Lake sweep. And then this time, Sarah is getting for the, going for the half guard, trying to get the Lucas Lake sweep, but Cha reads that, she's backing away. So this time Sarah is gonna pull herself into deep half, right? And this is just a back take from deep half. That's all that is. Good? Awesome. Okay. Sarah, Cha, do you guys have any questions or any comments? as usual, I appreciate you guys showing. I know I really appreciate you and Sarah for showing up when you're injured. Do what we can with what we can sometimes, and so we just keep going. We will be back on Monday, and then the following Monday I will be in Florida, so probably gonna just cancel class because it's Memorial Day. Everybody wants a break. All right, you guys have a great one. Take care. Feel free to message me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good series.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Good job.